Here we go. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. 9% for Nenu. Feels Daniel, man. All right, I don't know what happened with Jake here in the early goings, but kind of setting up some 200 IQ burns on purpose. I'm not sure what he's doing or why, but nobody really knows. Jake going for setting up a Tetris. Does he know the match has started? 25,000 for Jake, 22,000 for Bubble. So kind of Jake in the weeds early here, kind of self-inflicted. Or maybe it was, could have been a controller issue in the early goings. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. We'll have to ask him about it. B mode. Maybe he's only comfortable in B mode, so he's setting him up some intentional B type. All right, Jake with the Tetris 101, and despite all that, Jake is ahead. Well, basically even in score with Bubble, ahead by 3 burn lines. I think we're gonna have to do a music reset at the finals. I want our traditional CTM music for the finals. But 126 for Jake, 128 for Bubble. So pretty darn close. Jake waiting for a long bar for that center well. He's going to stay with center well. This is kind of typical. This is Jake's game, though. This is James' games. Sorry, shouldn't call him that. All right, Jake gets one of the Tetrises, set up for another one down the middle. Gonna have to take a few burns, though, to keep it open. And this is center well for you. There's another one. He's set up for another one. So he's building these center well Tetrises too high. I think the pieces are pulling him into that. Certainly would prefer not to have to do that. And now he's in a position where he's having to create alternating burn shelves. So Bubble's at 235. It doesn't have a super clean board either, but now he does. And Jake getting himself into a little bit of trouble, and Jake's going to top out at 203 early. This is kind of like, this is like Galumba Jake. He dropped his controller at the beginning. I missed that. So Bubble is good. Bubble can go ahead and top out. Oh, I gave Jake the heart. I meant to give Bubble the heart. There it is. Bubble, you're good. All right, let's get a ready from both. Bubble says ready. Jake says ready. There we go. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. It's hard to tell what's going on Jake's cam because of the Kaleidocam. I'll say this, though. Both players perfectly stencil ready. And I think that's what really counts. All right, so Bubble does push down. It is not the majority of hyper tappers who do that, but he does. I don't know how you manage that. Like, it seems like there's enough inputs, like you need to add another one. But some people do it. $48,000 for Jake, $49,000 for a Bubble Rhapsody. Of course, Speedrunner. Bubble Rhapsody of a lot of ridiculous games. You can find him on speedrun.com. And Jake Games is Jake Games. Probably youngest max out, although not documented. But I believe him. You know, Jake is a good kid. 98,000 for Jake. And 82,000 for Bubble. Jake looking to clear this down. And he's about to. And he's going to be Tetris ready. And he gets it. 128 for him, 128 for Bubble. Jake ahead by a few burn lines, not anymore. But Bubble Tetris is 151. Yeah, I believe Bubble is the world record holder for like clacks any percent, I believe. 174 for both, so pretty darn close. That's true. I mean, all Canadians are nice, so it's kind of tautologous to say a nice Canadian. 219 for Jake, 223 for Bubble. Bubble getting up a little bit high here. Tried to avoid taking the triple, but was kind of pushed on him. And finally gets a Tetris here. 254 for him. Jake is ahead in score and behind in lines. So he is in the lead by a small amount. Oh, someone called Buko. Oh, a double Tetris here. 317 for Jake. Bubble rips a piece over to the left. Doesn't even, I mean, insane. And Jake now with a Tetris, and he is ready for another one. Bubble gets one, 349. As soon as Jake gets a long bar, he will be ahead. 362. Bubble Tetrises. So now these players look to have found a rhythm. Jake's Tetrising 385. So they're going to trade this 13 and 12,000 point lead or whatever it is. What, 13,000 point lead? Well, maybe not though, because Bubble getting a little bit droughted. Yeah, it's going to slow him down a little bit. Finally gets a Tetris, but is built up in virtue of being, you know, building up, is set up for 2 in a row, which is nice, and takes the lead back. But that's just in raw score because he is ahead in lines by 8. Jake Tetrises, though. So does Bubble. So they are pretty virtually tied. $500 now for Jake. Huge pace here through 106 lines. And another Tetris for Jake, 523. So with 20 lines remaining until transition, that's a potential of 5 Tetrises. So that's would be another 110,000 points potentially available to him. Well, a little more than that really, but close enough. And Bubble is sort of at the top of the next box, and it's got a line dependency over on the left. He brought it down a little bit and is able to score a Tetris up there. Kind of turns one LJ dependency into 2 of them, but that's okay. Clears open the right side and bangs down a Tetris, does Bubble. 547 transition for him. Jake's still 8 lines away from transition, 2 available Tetrises, and will be at least 600 transition for Jake, looking for one more Tetris. And he is set up for it, and he's going to bang it down. 638 transition for Jake. Oh, no, Bubble's got a long bar dependency, and oh my, how does he get that over there? That's just wild. Like a whole other gear that he can turn on and just rip a piece over to the left, like almost impossibly. 643 for Jake. almost anyone else in the world. That's an impossible make for that long bar to get over there. But Bubble, one of the fastest tappers on the planet. 654 for Jake, 613 for Bubble. Jake Tetris again, and he's back by 9 lines. This is a real lead for Jake, and again, both of these players certainly capable of getting to the kill screen. Intentional T-spin set up for Jake, and he gets the T, makes the T-spin. Set up for a Tetris, getting a little mini droughted. Could turn into a macro drought, and he's going to hold it open a little too long maybe, but gets the long bar over. He's got some cleanup to do as a result. Out of a panic flip for Jake, 716. Or maybe it wasn't a panic flip. Maybe it was like an intentional triple flip, which once in a while can actually be useful. Just as a pole vault. 725 for Jake. Bubble getting up high, and Bubble is going to top out at 681. And Jake is going to take a game. So Jake is good. We all know that. So Jake can go ahead and top out if he wishes. And he does. Sportsman that he is. Is Bubble faster than Eric? I don't know. Huh. All right. Bubble Rhapsody says Reezy. And we just need a Reezy from Jake Games, and he is Reezy. So let's go ahead and count it down. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. There's no hesitation on these guys. They want to get right back into it while they are hot. And believe me, they are hot right now. All right, we're both underway. See, normally I would eat this chicken at this time, and that's really the whole reason I have like a co-commentator. Yeah. So when Sue walks in with chicken, I can just eat the chicken and let the other person do the commentary. But I have no other commentator, so I'm being kept from chicken. But that's okay. It's worth it. 70,000 for Jake now, 92,000 for Bubble. Oh, do we get we got a raid? Yeah, apologies. Oh, we got a raid of 105. Thank you so much for the raid, Do Re Mi Puyo Tet. I'm sure like a ton of people know you because you're raiding with 100 plus people. But I don't know you that well, but I really appreciate the raid. Thank you so much. 139 for Jake, 119 for Bubble. Bang, Tetris for Bubble, and we are in a virtual dead heat again. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't know you. But I appreciate that you rated me. I can't know everyone, okay? No matter, there's always a streamer that has like a large following that someone doesn't know. It's like you know every person who's capable of an 100-player raid, okay? But I am happy to make his acquaintance. And Jake left side Tetris, 239 for him, 199 for Bubble. We were in a best of 5 situation. I traded games back and forth, and it is now a virtual best of 3. 262 Jake, 207 for Bubble. Oh, he plays, obviously, yes, plays Puyo Puyo Tetris. I just don't know. I don't follow the Puyo scene, the Puyo PPT scene. I apologize. Oh my god. I'm terrible. I'm so out of the loop. I'm going to have to go on R out of the loop later and ask about it. Jake getting a little bit dangerous here. And is going to have to rely on a tap here. Oh, Sue is dying. Oh no, Jake. He's going to hang a piece, and he is ahead. And Bubble looks like he could top out at any moment. So Jake is at 269. Bubble needs 30,000 points, and Bubble is going to top out. So both players getting very spicy and very high. And Jake Games somehow pulls it out over Bubble in a double early top out situation. So Jake is going to get the heart. Yeah. Holy moly. All right, Bubble says ready. And Jake says Reezy, so let's go ahead. This is game 4 of a best of 5. Jake up 2-1. And Zafanya Nenu sits waiting in the finals. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. And Jake playing, but also throwing in the swag 0 there right before the Tetris. So priorities. Jake's got his priorities in order. All right, Jake on the board with the first Tetris. And Bubble has yet to get one here through 7 lines. And Bubble is on the ropes. And Jake out to an early lead, 50,000 points ahead. 69,000 for Jake, 12,000, basically 13,000 now for Bubble. A little snap spin there for Jake down the right side. Clears open a Tetris well. 94,000 for him, 40,000 for Bubble. Bubble finally clean-ish, but not a very accommodating board right now for him. Man, he's kind of holding out for the right piece. All right, he clears a triple away to clean his stack up. And Jake, 162, while Bubble still, well, he Tetrises to get to 70,000. But Jake set up for another Tetris already. All right, Jake getting a little bit droughted, but gets a long bar over to the right for a Tetris, and he's already ready for another one. Gets it, 208 for him. Bubble drops in a couple in quick succession. Jake with a little last-second adjustment, 200 IQ adjustment there from Jake. And Jake kind of dependent here on a J piece. And maybe a little, oh no, and Jake is going to top out at 210. 210, so Bubble needs to get a little over 210, and he is set up clean and has all the time in the world, and this is almost certainly going to a decider. So get to 211 just to be safe. But Jake not playing safe there. A little bit of greed above the next box. Well, a lot of greed above the next box. And Bubble RNG trying to make it interesting. These last few points for Bubble. But needs to get to 210, 140. And assuming he gets a long bar this century, and it should happen. I just can't find a long bar to save his life. What a drought. All right, he's got triple's gonna do it, but holy Toledo. All right, so there we go. Bubble is going to take the second heart, and everybody, we got a decider. A decider. You know, there's a certain thirst that only one drink can satisfy. And that drink is a decider. There it is. So stupid. Whew. Well, this is it. It's a weird semifinal, but you know, these two players, not a surprising semifinal. All right, we got a ready from Jake and a ready from Bubble. Here we go. The winner goes to the finals. The loser does not go to the finals. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Oh, Decider will not be an emote in here. Decider belongs to us. Decider is for us, okay? If they ever kick us off of here, Decider is coming with. All right, Jake already starting off with crazy Galumba builds. I mean, the game kind of feeding him a bunch of S's and Z's. And this is the kind of stuff that he's going to have to tame, you know, if and when he gets to a finals. This kind of stuff can really blow up on you. Like high risk, high reward, but you know, it often blows up. So 58, I mean, that's how someone like Galumba landed in the, you know, Challenger circuit. And ended up losing his first game. I mean, these crazy kind of builds and stuff. Jake with the crazy T-spin there. 81,000 for Jake, 54,000 for Bubble. Jake Tetris is 104. For Jake. Bubble Tetris is basically 80,000. I very rarely round up the score, right? I'm always like, even if it's like 81,999, I will always just say 81,000. But I don't know. Sometimes I find myself rounding up a bit. All right, bang. Tetris for Jake, 172 for him, 86,000 for Bubble. Bubble Tetris is, though, 110. And now Jake kind of building in from the side. It's kind of, oh no, that's going to cause a little bit of a problem for Jake. Kind of an obstacle course up at the top of Jake's stack. Gets a Tetris to knock it down. Would love another one right now, but he's going to, oh no, he's going to build in from the side and gets another Tetris. I thought he was going to take the triple, but building aggressively and filling in. Wow. Is Jake. No fear with those kind of builds from the side. It's kind of, you build this like scaffolding on the side of your board and then just kind of fill in with like just a whole series of tucks. 200 IQ burns from Jake here. And he's got a well in the third column and it's up pretty high. And he would love a long bar right now. If he gets droughted right now, he's going to be in trouble. And that's exactly what's happening. But he's able to find a way to burn all this down and get a Tetris out of it. So he's going to stick with this third column well. I mean, he's going to have to. Otherwise, you just give up too much pace. But 282 for Jake gets a Tetris and is going to have to build, stay with it. All right, he gets another Tetris. Let's see what he decides to do. Is he going to shift the well over? No, I think he's a little bit of hubris here from Jake. And he's going to stay with this, but it works out, and he's able to shift the well over with a Tetris. This is why he is a champion, and I am not. Of course, the winner of CTWC Canada. Corian says, amazing aggressive Jake. And Bubble looked like he could have been in a bit of a situation, but wasn't that high and got, you know, pretty decent pieces. I mean, if he'd gotten the wrong, a burst of the wrong pieces at the wrong time, that could have spelled trouble for him, but no problem. Meanwhile, through all this, Jake, 420,000 points and a couple of spins in a row for Jake. No problem. Reminds you of Batfoy. 422 for Jake, 297 for Bubble. I got so hypnotized by what Jake was doing, I didn't give a score check, so my apologies, but players should, I think they like the score checks. 427 Jake, 320 for Bubble. Another Tetris for Jake. And they are even in lines, more or less. And Jake with about 100,000 point lead. And Tetris ready again. They both Tetris. Jake maintaining that lead. And Bubble Tetris's 391. Jake Tetris's. Jake behind by 5 lines. So still 100,000 point lead. It's all, you know, the way Jake builds sometimes, he builds like this wall on the left, but it's got like all these, like almost like if, like when you have like your apartment and you're leaving your apartment, but you've put a lot of nail holes in it and you just fill it in with like toothpaste so that you can get your security deposit back. That's like how Jake builds. It's like he's got this wall and he just fills it in with stuff. And then it ends up somehow at the end looking pretty good. 563 for Jake, 468 for Bubble. And they both transition. Jake at a 588 transition. Tetris is soon after. Another Tetris for Jake. Oh, a missed drop on the right side for Jake. Now he's got the tap, so he should be able to get it over, and he does. But boy, you hold your breath. Stuff like that happens. And Jake's going to have to burn this down. And needs a long bar or at least a combo. And Jake giving me a little bit of a heart attack. Which, you know, hey, I'm 42. I'm at risk for one. And, you know, overweight, so it could happen. Do you realize that? I could, like, die of a heart attack right here. Like, during CTM. And it's probably the most excited I get in any given month. So it could happen. How's that for clickbait? 681 for Jake. 548 for Bubble. And we're on the purple level, so that would make that level 22. And Bubble is going to have to play with maximum aggression at this point because he is back by over 100,000 points. And Jake can obviously play and hit a 1.1 at any given time. So Bubble is in a really tough situation right now. And Jake continues to pour down Tetrises. Heart attack Jake, exactly. 752, another Tetris for Jake. He's got a 180,000 point lead, and he is playing like a kid possessed. Another Tetris for Jake, over 200,000 point lead. Here's one for Bubble to get some of it back, but it's getting now to the point, again, not to take some of the drama away, but oh no. Wow, Jake's somehow able to survive that. But it's kind of getting to the point where this could be out of reach for Bubble. Not quite there yet, because once you get to 200 lines, you've got about, 200 and change points available to you, but you have to play perfectly to get them. So Bubble really cannot afford to burn too much so long as Jake is alive. I mean, I don't mean like alive, I mean still playing. But Jake can afford to be a bit conservative here and just continue to pour, add points to the kill screen and Bubble in trouble. And it's always fun to say that. And I don't think Bubble's going to survive this. And Bubble is going to top out and Jake is going to the finals against Nenu. Holy mackerel. Heart attack Jake from Canada going to the finals. Congratulations to you, Bubble, for getting this far. You just kind of ran into something here. Well, Jake was just like in a zone in some other dimension. So, wow, incredible. And Jake's going to try to get a max out here, which see if he can get. He'll need one Tetris to do it or some points after kill screen. And he gets the max out just for funsies. So, no problem there. Congratulations to you, Jake. You are going to the finals. So, we have a former champion and then someone who's never been a champion going to the finals. So, let's go ahead and take one last look at our bracket before the end. Let's get rid of... Bubble on the right. So who's going to be on the right? It's going to be Jake, the number 3 seed, against Nenu, the 8 seed. So we're just going to put the 8 seed over where he is, and let's go ahead and pull up Nenu. I am shaking. Let me tell you guys, I am like shaking. I'm not playing. I'm not doing anything, but I am shaking. This is crazy.